This video was made possible by Brilliant. Start learning with Brilliant for 20% off by being one of the first 200 to sign up at brilliant.org/HAI. This was the home of Mehran Karimi Nasseri, better known as Sir Alfred. In his home, he did normal home things like eat, sleep, wash up, relax. Really, the only thing that made his home unique was that it was Terminal 1 of Paris Charles de Gaulle Airport, which looks like a Stalinist-designed donut. After the third hour of being told that your flight will board in 15 minutes, it can start to feel like you'll be stuck in the airport forever, but I guarantee you that you've never been as delayed as Sir Alfred. Thanks to an inescapable infinite loop of bureaucracy, Sir Alfred landed at CDG in 1988 and he didn't leave until 2006. Sir Alfred, born in Iran, grew up fairly comfortably with his dad being a doctor for an oil company. When he was 27 though, Alfred found himself protesting against the monarchy in Iran, which was eventually toppled, but before that he was expelled from the country and his citizenship was revoked. With that, he was stateless. About 1 in 750 people globally are stateless. That is, they aren't officially citizens of any country. Unfortunately, this isn't the miracle solution to evading taxes and laws, it's a major inconvenience that stops people from getting social benefits, traveling, and more. There are a lot of ways people can become stateless, but one major one is plotting to overthrow the government of a country like Alfred allegedly did. After bouncing around for a bit, Sir Alfred was eventually granted refugee status by Belgium, also known as the Francerlands. Soon after Alfred's dad died, his mother revealed that she was not actually Alfred's mom, and that he had been born out of an affair his dad had with a Scottish nurse. There were pros and cons to this. Pro, Alfred would be eligible for British citizenship. Con, Alfred would not be eligible under Iranian law to receive his father's inheritance. Oh, and his whole life was a lie. As a stateless person, Alfred wanted to make his way to London to apply for citizenship, but somehow he lost his refugee papers. He says they were stolen, others say he got rid of them. Quick side note, Sir Alfred has told tons of different versions of his story, so almost every article you'll read about this will have a slightly different story, but the consensus seems to be that Alfred left France light, went to Paris Charles de Gaulle Airport, somehow boarded a plane, and flew to London. Now, this shouldn't have happened because, in order to fly internationally, you have to have a valid passport and visa, and Sir Alfred did not. It was probably an airline mistake. Nowadays, airlines are fined an average of $3,500 for each passenger they fly without a valid passport or visa, and they have to fly the passenger back to their origin free of charge. Upon arrival to the UK, not having any passport to get in, Sir Alfred was turned right back around and placed on a plane back to Paris Charles de Gaulle Terminal 1. But, for the same reason he couldn't enter the UK, Sir Alfred also couldn't enter France. Normally, the protocol in this case would be to send the person back to their home country where they could, in an emergency, enter without a passport, but Sir Alfred had no home country, so he couldn't enter France, and he couldn't fly anywhere, meaning he was well and truly stuck in Paris Charles de Gaulle Terminal 1. After a brief stint in jail, he set up shop on this bench, and that's where he lived for the next 18 years. The airport had everything he needed: bathrooms, food, even a doctor, which, being in the Stalinist socialist donut, was of course free. Now, there were attempts to get Sir Alfred the refugee papers he needed, but to do so he would need to go to Belgium, and of course, without the refugee papers, he couldn't leave the airport to go to Belgium. It was an infinite loop of bureaucracy. It's worth noting that Sir Alfred was actually in the public area before security during his stay, but it would have been illegal for him to step outside even if there was nothing physically stopping him. Eventually, after about 10 years, both France and Belgium offered him residency, but he refused to sign the papers that would finalize this as they listed him as Iranian. In his mind, he was anything but that. Some say Sir Alfred's mental state deteriorated as the years racked up, but it seemed that he perhaps grew fond of his airport home and he had made friends there. For most of the early years he relied on his savings, there was a bank in the airport, and the occasional money that strangers who heard his story gave or sent him. There was a post office too. But in 2004, while he was still in the airport, he published his autobiography which made him some money, and DreamWorks Pictures paid him $250,000 as they were making the film The Terminal. This Spielberg movie was not based off Sir Alfred's story, but rather loosely inspired, so the payment was mostly legal cover to be sure that Sir Alfred wouldn't later sue. In interviews around this time, he kept saying he was weeks away from leaving, but eventually, his departure did not come by choice. In 2006, he was hospitalized for 6 months with medical issues, and after, rather than returning to the airport, he eventually settled down in a Paris homeless shelter where he's lived ever since. If you find yourself stuck in an airport for 18 years, you're going to need something to do, and what better way to use your free time than learn something new, perhaps on Brilliant.org. Brilliant is the best place to learn new things as they have mastered the art of teaching. Their courses are superbly designed and help you learn complex topics like number theory, special relativity, or gravitational physics in a way where you'll actually understand the why and how rather than just the what. All their courses are great, but if you're looking for one to start on, I particularly enjoyed their Games of Chance one. Check out Brilliant at brilliant.org/HAI and sign up for free. That will let you try out some classes, and then the first 200 people that go to that link will also get 20% off the annual premium subscription.